Welcome to another program in our series, In Concert. I'm Bill Weir, the producer and host of the program, and I'm delighted to have with me this charming duo, husband and wife. Minnesota Public Radio calls you pioneers because this is an oboe and a bass, and you go by the name OboeBass. First of all, could you tell me why this combination?
Well, the reason that we decided to be OboeBass was first because we got married and we wanted to play together, and we looked around for music that had been written for us and rapidly found there were only a few pieces, maybe 3 published pieces. But we fortunately had composer friends who jumped in to fill the void, and it snowballed into a career.
Carrie, would you tell me about what kind of music you are influenced by? The ones that are influencing the composers?
We have many influences, and I think it's fortunate that we are in uncharted territory with both of these instruments, because composers have not previously put the two together, which we're curious about because we think they work very well together. So that gives us a blank palette to work with, and we have many influences, folk influences from many countries, jazz influences, the classical world, and we kind of mix it all together, and it's been wonderful to spread our wings and try this kind of music and make it work for these two instruments.
Well, great. So let's go ahead with the program. I'll be back at the end.
Thank you very much. In honor of Edvard Grieg's 175th birthday, we would like to present one of his most popular and beloved pieces, In the Hall of the Mountain King, from the incidental music to Peer Gynt.
The next piece is vignettes from the miraculous journey of Edward Tulane. Edward Tulane is a rabbit, a toy, a doll, and the miraculous journey of Edward Tulane is a children's book written by Kate DiCamillo from the Twin Cities. Edward Tulane gets lost a number of times in this book, and every time he gets lost, he's given a new name. At one point, he's found by a boy in Memphis who tap dances on the street. And when this little boy finds Edward Tulane, he says, "Oh, I have a great dancing companion right here. We can tap dance together." But the boy didn't know his name was Edward Tulane. He named him Jangles. So the title of this first movement from this piece is called Jangles Dances for Pennies. In the second movement of this piece, Edward Tulane is found by a group of hobos. His favorite time with the hobos is when they're sitting around the campfire telling all the stories of their lives and the hard times they've had. The hobos did not know that his name was Edward Tulane, and they gave him a new name. They called him Malone. So this second movement is called Malone's Hobo Song. In the third movement of this piece, called Down But Not Out, Edward Tulane has been found by a toy repairman who brings him to his shop. He cleans him up, makes him look good as new, and places Edward Tulane on a shelf, waiting for his next adventure. And as Edward Tulane sits there, waiting for redemption and his next life, he is, as the movement says, down but not out.
Julie Johnson is a Minnesota flute player and composer. She comes from northern Minnesota, the town of Baudette. And when she was growing up, one of the influences to her style and sound were the folk tunes she heard around her. And in particular, there were a lot of Finns in the area, and some Finnish folk music crept into this piece. We're going to play two movements from her folk suite for oboe and bass. The first movement is the prelude. It's going to start with the bass small cadenza playing the Finnish folk tune, If I Could Fly as a Bird Could Fly. And that kind of sets up the motive for the whole piece, where you're going to hear nature sounds and things that sound like birds calling back and forth to one another in the Finnish woods. So here is Prelude from Folk Suite for Oboe and Bass by Julie Johnson. The second movement of Julie's folk suite for oboe and bass is a raucous peasant dance. It's Koiviston Polska, which translates as the Birch Grove Polska.
Hard Times Come Again No More is one of Stephen Foster's most memorable songs. This was a song that they heard him singing in the last years of his life because he had kind of a sad ending to his life. He died alone in a New York City hotel, and in his pocket they found 38 cents and a strip of paper that said, "Dear friends and gentle hearts," probably a new song that he was working on, that he was going to write. It has that nostalgic Americana feel to it. The lyrics to this song, I'll just read one verse so you can know what they are like. Let us pause in life's pleasures and count its many tears while we all sup sorrow with the poor. There's a song that will linger forever in our ears. Oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis the song, the sigh of the weary. Hard times, come again no more. Many days you have lingered around my cabin door. Oh, hard times, come again no more.
These last two pieces are based on folk traditions of our ancestral lands. First is a piece called The Plucked or Norfjord Halling, and this is a Norwegian folk dance. It's part of a suite of Norwegian tunes that was arranged for us by Adrian Mann, who is the principal bass and staff composer for the Fort Wayne Philharmonic. This piece was written to commemorate the 80th birthday of my father and his twin brother, Lowell Erdahl. So Arlen and Lowell Erdahl, as little boys, had the nicknames Torden og Lyn, which means thunder and lightning, because wherever one would strike, no one knew where the next would come, but they knew it would come soon thereafter. And this is the finale of that piece. It is a very raucous kind of show-off Norwegian peasant dance.
piece is called Cantate con me. It's an Italian folk song, and it was arranged for us by Adrian Mann to celebrate one of my father's birthdays, his 70th birthday. And it's not a stereotypical Italian folk song, but it is one that is nostalgic for Italians. Sing with me, Cantate con me.
Okay. Wow, what a concert. You, you really found a tremendous array of music that you can do very well. And you do concerts in multiple places, some of them for schools. And
We do concerts all over the state. We've been all over the country. We even played a concert in Norway last October. We do educational programs in schools and elementary schools, and we do educational programs for adults in senior residences. So we cover a lot of ground.
Great. So I hope that helps the folks here think about inviting you to come and enhance their events with your music. So thank you both.
Thank you so much, Bill. It's a privilege and pleasure to be here.
It's a privilege to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning in.